Hello, South Bend community, and welcome to week number 2 of professional learning. How are you all doing today? I see we already have some people in the comments. So if you have not done so, go ahead and drop your name, school, grade. Just kind of help us network a little bit. Hopefully you had a good first week back to school. And so we are going to start week 2 and get started with me kicking us off. Today we're going to be looking at our lesson plan design for e-learning. So just kind of give you a little bit of an overview of what we're going to cover today. I have some templates that I'm going to show you and just kind of see what works best for you during that process. I have 3 lesson plans done up for the week of the 24th for kindergarten, 1st, and 4th grade, I believe. So trying to throw some love to every grade level during my PLs. I know I got 3 and 5th that I'll kind of focus on to give them some strategies and tools already done on Wednesday's session about digital literacy. So just do want to make sure I cover everybody. And then also today I'm going to give you a little bit of time. If you have any questions, feel free to have the comments come in. My partner in crime, Tara Cowan, is monitoring, so she'll make sure that if I do miss something, she'll just kind of help me make sure I get questions answered, give you all some time as well to play around, ask questions. If you have any thoughts, comments, feel free to drop them in the comments. You'll see me looking over there, monitoring, and again, Tara will also be helping me. So as we get started, I just want to kind of get a little quick check. How well are you feeling? Prepared are you feeling for this week 2 as we begin? So number 1, feeling pretty good, confident. Number 2, so. Number 3, maybe a little bit over your head. So take a minute, go ahead and drop some comments as to how prepared you feel. Seeing a couple 2s and 3s. So hopefully after the session, we'll definitely get you, if you're a 3, kind of, my goal is to move you up 1 from how you're currently feeling. If you're already number 1, hopefully we'll just kind of get you to keep going with it and keep the ship sailing. Mm, 2.5, I like that. Quite a few 3s. So Dawn asking if there's a 4. Nope, I think that's the only scale I came up with. We just no. So again, what my goal from this PL is, I'm going to hopefully give you some resources that you can use to help you plan your instruction, be intentional about what you teach, and then, like I said, hopefully we can get those 3s at least up to a 2, maybe get those 2s feeling a little bit more comfortable. So just kind of deep breaths, we are all in this together. So we'll get there. Keep moving on. I have a little infographic that I found from Dr. Tori Trust, and a little bit hard to see on the screen. After my presentation, I am going to upload my slides, so you'll have better access to this. There is a link straight to the PDF if you would like to view this. But what she has is just this Rethinking Teaching in 2020. So we want to enrich remote learning, online, blended in-person teaching for the fall of 2020. So obviously we are at the remote learning, online learning. And so just some things that really stuck out to me as I saw her infographic here. I know, especially like for me, the long, being in 5th grade, I think it's pretty easy to kind of get into some long lectures. But the main thing we want to kind of focus on is just kind of switch those long lectures, do some breakout groups when you're meeting with your class, and focus on some mini lessons with your students who are in attendance. Worksheets, I know last week we got into a little bit. I think it was Holly and Mary did an excellent job presenting it, hyperdocs. And so we're going to kind of walk through that a little bit today with the hyperdocs and just what I feel more comfortable with is that if you do have your lesson plans and you do have them hyperlinked, that would allow your students who are unable to attend, that they can just click the links and everything's just going to kind of be a one-stop shop. So we will get into some more with the hyperdocs. High stake testing. I know Jenna's doing the NWEA test. That one we definitely have to do, but just kind of focus on doing some low stakes. Do those, if you Google form assessments, just something that will give you a quick barometer of where your students are after you do start your teaching. I think you are definitely going to get more bang for your buck there. And then with what we saw on the Padlet as well as our Flipgrid, a lot of you had comments about doing the connected learning instead of the solo activities. You were all very curious about doing the back channel, was one comment that we saw a lot. So again, just kind of, keep plugging away as you are getting strategies to where you can get the students to interact on a Google document, Google Slides. The main thing, I know this has been mentioned last week, don't replicate school. We know that, again, with the Flipgrid, some of you have even made comments about how being on your computer for 7 hours is draining on the eyes. So, your students are definitely feeling that as well. So, just be mindful of that. Kind of keep in mind activities that your students can do off the screen. And then also keep high expectations. That's another big one. As we kind of talked about a little bit last Tuesday, the foundations of teaching are staying the same. I mean, you are going to have your standards, your priority standards that you're going to be aligning to. So keep your expectations high for your students, and then just also be flexible with the deadlines. And if your students do need additional help, just be there for them to support. So again, I thought this was a really good infographic. And again, the resources will be linked on the Canvas page for you to check out. So why lesson plan? So when we know that we have the fatigue coming in, many of you, your students, you don't like being on the screen for 6+ hours a day. So it's very important that we are very intentional with what is being taught to our students. So we want to make sure that we get effective teaching right off the bat and not so much focus on the length that we are teaching. So our driving force behind our instruction is we have the standards. So just as you know, with eLearn, we have our priority standards for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. These are all linked up. And then we also have our curriculum maps. And I do want to show the curriculum map. Got a couple emails about those being a little bit harder to print. So last night I went in and adjusted those to make printing easier for you. So if you're like me, tactile, you got to have it, highlight it, mark it up, do whatever. They did print out all right. It's not going to be full size print that we may like, but at least we get it all on one sheet. So that is a big help to have it at least in our hands. So when you go to print these, just Command and P, and then it's going to load up with your main page here. Make sure that you select that you are on the legal paper size. That's going to help. Landscape, and then the percent right here is 50%. I know that seems a little bit small, but it is going to get, like I said, everything will be on one sheet of paper going in that way. So once you make those adjustments, legal, landscape, and 50%, you can hit next. And then when it loads this screen to come up to print, make sure that your paper size again is US legal. And then you want to do the portrait orientation, and then you can print. And then that is going to give you it all printed out, all on one page. So again, all right. So hopefully that will help those of you again that are tactile. You'll have those handy. And then K, 1st and 2nd grade were those that were done on the Excel spreadsheet. And then 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, you shouldn't have any trouble printing those ones out. Those were just done in a Google document. So that should help you there. So we do want to look at our curriculum map. I mean, that resource is there. It was created with you in mind to help guide your instruction. It gives you the dates, the standards, everything is on those documents. So that will help you there. All right, any questions about how to access those? You can also access those with in the Canvas page under curriculum and instruction. So those will, and then also check back that Canvas course, curriculum and instruction. We are going to be uploading videos from Teachers Teaching throughout the course of the year. So that site course is going to be updated frequently. So feel free to check back often. I'll pause a little bit, see if there are any questions regarding the curriculum maps or printing the curriculum maps. Not seeing anything coming in. All right, so when we get to our actual planning overview, I just kind of found some templates, have some templates, and so I'll just kind of walk you through those. This first one I did is a 1st grade weekly plan. I focused on language arts. You can do these by content area. You can throw them together if you wanted to, combine all your content areas in one. But what I felt is if you are very detailed, this is one that is definitely going to be for you. So I broke it down, teacher, grade level, what week you're teaching, and then again with the curriculum map, okay, I'm on Unit 1, Week 1. So then you don't have to list every single standard or every single indicator that is listed, but these are going to be the focused ones, have what students should be able to do. So we're focused on retelling a story and identifying first-person text. If you do collaborate with your grade level team and you want to come up with assessments to check with them, on Friday, that's just your little quick check right there. If you say, hey, we do have an assessment made, or hey, we don't have an assessment made. Your Bloom's taxonomy, what are we really focusing on? Our depth of knowledge. Here we're at a level 2. We are focusing on identifying. And then what I did is just each day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I went through and just, again, these are for you as the teacher. So these are your notes, what you want to focus on. So for me, I started with a Google Meet. I want to introduce my students, talking about the pronouns, looking at first person, highlight I, me, my, mine, we, us, our, and ours. Again, just going along with the standards. Zoom in. Yep, there we go. I'll go a little bit more. All right. So again, I'll just kind of so you get a better view there. I know Jennifer was asking, so yep. So again, the standards, what they're focusing on. And then again, this is just to lay out my highlights. I'm not going to be real super detailed. I know we had a couple comments about the time. So, this is just for you, what you need in order to just kind of help you be intentional with what you're going to be teaching. So here, if we're doing a read aloud, I'm going to check for comprehension at pages 4, 7, and 11, highlight the pronouns. And again, that just kind of goes throughout all week. Once we get into doing small groups, again, being intentional with our instruction, if I want to record myself in a Google Meet, 10, 15 minutes, depending on grade level, and then have students kind of watch that and then pull some students for groups while the other students are doing some work. Focus within those groups. We're going to be talking about nouns, pronouns, the phonics, focus on short A sound, and also introduce some writer's workshop. And then, again, as you get into more workstations, Daily 5, I think like 200 teachers attended the Daily 5 training this summer, which is awesome. Daily 5 is a wonderful resource to use when it comes to doing workstations. You have your writing, your word study, reading, independent leveled readers, everything is on there. So it's really worth checking out. And then I have, check for understanding. If you are very detailed and you do want to, okay, what intentional questions am I going to be asking? Again, this would be your section for notes right here that you can add those to make sure that you really do want to cover. And then if you are upper grades, lower grades, if you do have a common planning assessment available, and you saw that at the top here, I had 3 indicators, 3 standards that I was going to be focusing on for the week. So if I'm selecting those 3 indicators, I would kind of want I would want my assessment to have those indicators in there as well. We're focusing on, hey, are my students able to retell a story? And can my students identify first person speaker? So with that in mind, you can set, hey, first week of instruction, I'm going to, students get a 50% on it. Hey, that's passing for me. And then it just allows me, any student that maybe is not at that 50%, hey, I can just take a little note here, student that didn't reach the goal. And that just kind of sounds a little alarm from me, like, hey, I really need to check in with these students. Also, I'll give you a little section here about what am I going to do to help the students that are not reaching their goal? How will I know that they reached the goal? So again, if you are doing, a small group, you can change that. And what are the next steps? So again, this is just kind of questions that I had as I was coming up with this template. So, if you don't do every single step, that is totally going to be fine. I just definitely want you to have resources. And again, to kind of move those little quick checks, the 3, that are feeling, not that good about their planning instruction, maybe we get to the 2s next week or in the coming weeks, and then we can progress to getting feeling pretty good about this. So again, these will be on the Canvas. So any questions about that one? That was just like a little weekly plan. Next one we're going to take a look at is we have 4th grade math. And with this one, I just kind of gave it more of a month view. Here with our 4th grade math, our essential question is how can we use place value to compare, add, subtract, and estimate with whole numbers? So this one's laid out a little bit differently. It's not going to be as detailed as the one that we just saw. So again, I don't want to overwhelm you. I'm just trying to give you some resources. And if you do see something that works for you, you will totally have access to it. So at the month plan, I just went ahead and did the first week. But you can see here, I just have my weeks labeled. And this one was kind of taught in mind with just kind of thinking, hey, if we kind of do a unit a month, then everything's just going to be right there. I think for 4th grade, I think this one was 14 or 17 days, I think, for this one. So, kind of gives you the time that you can do some quick checks. You can, again, have some small group instruction. Students who aren't understanding, you will have that time to conference with them and check in with them to really see what's going on. And then again, the main thing is just making sure that you are having some sort of interaction with the students where they are seeing your face. If you want to, you can hold a Google Meet, teach the material, and then give them some activities, perhaps off screen, that they can practice. That way they don't get fatigued out. But I just kind of went along. Again, these were just my notes of what I wanted to make sure that I covered. So I feel that would be, again, beneficial for you, just knowing, hey, this is what I'm going to need. This is going to be my focus. There's a resources tab, but as far as a common assessment or planning or checking in, nothing like that is on this one. So I just, again, thought, this would be a good resource if you don't really want to be too detailed like we saw on the other one. This was definitely going to be available for you. Again, we have our standards, essential question. Any questions on this one? So again, right here is where you will be able to access once the presentation ends. I will make sure it's in the Canvas course. You have blank templates available. So I just went by and called them the weekly and monthly. So everything will be ready for you to fill out the way that you feel that will help you. So that one's all loaded. All right. So I see Jessica has a question. Are we able to utilize tech programs like Prodigy, etc.? Yes, I would say definitely, Jessica, utilize those tools that are available to you, but also make sure that you do have interaction with the students. That way they are seeing you. You know, you are the resource for parents that will be contacted first. So I would just make sure that you are establishing those connections, but definitely feel free to use Prodigy and other resources that are out there. Kimberly, I like the formats of these forms. Absolutely. And that's what I was really keeping in mind, Kim, as I was going through these, is I know that not everyone is going to fit into a perfect funnel down, you know, like everything. So this is definitely going to be available. Use however you see fit. You know, like I said, I mean, if you definitely like the more detailed instruction, like, hey, I want this, that's an option. If you are, hey, you know, I've been teaching for 15 years. I got a, you know, same grade level, got a good hang on it. You know, you like that other one, a little less detailed, totally go for it. I do have another one, and this is kind of where I was talking about the hyperdocs. And with this one, we have a kindergarten lesson plan. And with this one, it's just very laid out, you know, kind of keeping in mind with the e-learning guidelines, like we had the 3 content areas in the tentative schedule, the schedule that was laid out in those e-learning guidelines, about 3 content areas for elementary. And with this one, I do have this one linked up a lot, and I will zoom in so you can see that. And this is one that I had in mind. If you like the hyperdocs, that this would be for you. This could also, if you do have all of your links within your lesson plan, students that aren't able to attend your live Google Meet, for example, you could actually go back in here once your Meet is uploaded in your Drive, where you can link your video right here within the document itself. That will take the students so that they can watch it. You know, a couple different songs, again, with kindergarten, as we learn our days of the week, you know, any additional resources, YouTube videos. If you had something from the Khan Academy even that you wanted students to do, everything can be linked right in this document. You can upload it to your Google Classroom, and then students are ready to go. So I know Jack Hartman's pretty popular with the kindergartners. So for that, I just have a couple of videos here. When we talked about the assessments with the Google form, you know, if I want students to attend, you know, do the little field trip, or with math, identifying 0 to 5, you know, have that assessment right there for the students. Once they log in, I can get those results, allow me to just get that check right away with the students. And that's something else to kind of keep in mind. If you are doing those quick checks with students, that's not necessarily paper pencil. So those are available. So Jennifer, your Google Meet with the student privacy, what you can do, like for example, if I was teaching, one thing I would do is I would have my Google Meet, my instruction already pre-recorded. You know, I would do that maybe 3 out of the 5 days. That way that allows me to free me up that, hey, this is already up there. I'm not gonna have to worry about students, you know, bombing my Meet. It's just gonna be me teaching. And then also while the students are coming online to view that, my office hours, I'm going to be available. I can see kids that do come on, you know, if they, after they watch my video, have questions, I can guide them in addition to what was taught, if they have any questions. So that way you don't have to worry about so much like privacy issues. It's just going to be me. I can use my Jamboard as my whiteboard, and I can do my lesson with that, recording that way. So One thing also with the English language arts, and again with the curriculum map, kindergartners are talking about my community. So we have a virtual field trip. And I thought it would be fun, not just for necessarily kindergartners with this one, but from Slides Mania, there was a virtual passport, which I thought it would be extremely fun for the kids as you are reading, if you read a story, to just go ahead and kind of mark that within your class passport. You could share it out. Individuals, again, if you choose to use this, upload it into My Class or your Google Classroom, make a copy for every student, and then they can tweak it. They can change different picture here. One thing that you can also do is if you go to, and it walks you through this through the template, but here for our little traveler's ticket, we have that we are leaving from South Bend, so the airport SBN, and then you can choose different directions that you're going to throughout your learning as we are virtual or online. So with the kindergartners, one thing, links that we go to Yellowstone National Park. So there I just have a little picture, my little stamp in my passport of Old Faithful Geyser in Yellowstone. So again, I just thought this would be a fun resource to have, and you can just add, titles, different places you're going. So again, just thought that would be very, very neat, very fun resource that you'll have. Let's see. Again, we can have another Google form that is also linked within the document. So again, if students aren't able, everything's already going to be linked. It's going to take them right to where they want to go and need to go in order to fill everything out. So any questions coming in so far? And these are not required. This is just for you. These are just resources. If you like them, you're more than welcome to have them. So. Chip, to answer your question, I mean, you can do pre-recorded instruction, but you are still expected to go online daily and still interact with students. So with the privacy concerns, again, you can already record your lesson, but then you still need to be having that interaction with students afterwards to make sure that you still are reaching out.
And I just want to jump in there and say the reason that we are asking that these be recorded is because some of our students are not able to attend live meetings. And so if they are not able to attend a live meeting where you're doing direct instruction, then they're going to lose out on that. So we're just asking that they be recorded, and that way the student can access them later. If there are privacy issues, tell your kids to turn their mics off.
And I think she's present, but yeah, I mean, just again, privacy issues, worried about it. I mean, students can have their cameras off. I mean, it's all right. So again, this was as I mentioned earlier, this is really intended that once you do have a Google Meet, again, you can just link it for anybody that does miss it. I mean, it's trying to make things a little bit easier. Also, I know another resource, especially K2, they really do love their Seesaw. So I have tied in some Seesaw activities within this one. And again, the main thing with this format is that everything is linked up. So if you do have students that are missing, everything's right there. It kind of helps eliminate or at least downsize how much you're having to re-explain something when a student does reach out via email or have additional questions. Just click the link. It's going to take you right where they need to go. So again, this layout, again, I have my morning meeting, math, language arts. If you do have time to cover social studies or science, you can also throw that in there. Discovery Ed, wonderful resource. Yes, thank you, Barb. Okay. Any questions regarding this format as far as planning? And again, none of these are a requirement. They are totally for you if you feel like it would help benefit your instruction.
There is a couple questions about time. Kind of, what's the expectation on holding live meetings or engagement? So the time expectations.
Good. All right. So time, you know, you definitely want to keep your age group in mind. I know we had some comments, you know, if we're talking about kindergarten, you know, just think about their attention span. But, you know, I mean, if you're with them for 10, 15 minutes, give them an activity, they can do something, come back. You just definitely want to make sure that you are touching base with your students. So again, you're that face that they're going to see. You're the one that parents are going to reach out to. So the more that you can foster those relationships with the students, the better your instruction is going to be.
Yeah, and we got to make sure, right? Zoom fatigue. We all know Zoom fatigue sets in after 20 minutes. So if you're making your students go more than 20 minutes at a time, you know, that would be a good length of time to build in some of those off-screen brain breaks and eye breaks. So yeah, like, you know, like Chase had said, you know, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. And then it's also, you know, I mean, after that 15, 20 minutes, you do a little break, give the kids an activity. You can pull more students back in. You can do some small group activity instruction with them. You know, that way you don't have the entire class or all of those that can attend. You can maybe pull 3 or 4 students to work with you. So again, you just, as we get through this, you're going to get a feel, you know, for student schedules. You're going to get, you know, use your professional judgment and what's going to work best for you.
Paul Garwood had a question that he said, so some days we meet live as a group and others we use pre-recorded lessons and use the time to meet individually or in small groups. Yeah. And I would say to that, yeah, blend, just blend. Yeah. You know, you don't need, first of all, you as an educator, you don't need to be in the front of the screen for 7+ hours. So, you know, your kids don't need that either. But blend, you know, there's not this daily expectation that you have to be on the screen all the time. Instead, you know, pick and choose the days that you're going to be live with your students and the days that they're going to be doing asynchronous or self-paced work. You know, consider the on-screen and the off-screen blend. You know, do what's going to be best for your group of students as well as your own you know, Zoom fatigue, basically, as they call it, right? And your own schedule. You know, you have to balance that as well.
Yeah. So again, I mean, the main thing, definitely use professional judgment. So.
Yeah, and some of you are mentioning some of these things with particular students. Again, you know, your community of learners is very different than the person next door to you. So you're going to have to kind of, you know, be flexible with what works for your group of students versus their group of students.
All right, moving on. So again, that was just another one. This is one where I just had everything linked within Bitmojis. So if you say, okay, you know, again, kindergarten, not going to be able to read everything. Here you can click on the pictures and it will just take them to their field trip. And again, just that way they're kind of checking everything out. So we had like the Boston's Children's Museum was one that was free. Great Lakes. This one's my favorite. This one's the Georgia Aquarium. So just a lot of different videos you can watch from the aquarium. So again, all these great resources are out there. And then as we go throughout the week, you know, keeping that passport in mind that, hey, we can earn a stamp here. Nope. We can earn a stamp on our passport. We went to the Georgia Aquarium, you know, and just again, make it exciting for all of our students that are stuck at home, but yet we can still get out and explore our community, explore the world, even from a computer screen. All right, so I see I have a question about attaching. So I'll show you how you can make those attachments to a Bitmoji. Is once you insert a picture, image, Bitmoji, you just click on it. So let's say, for example, that aquarium one, and then up here with once it's highlighted, it has that box around it. You just insert link, and then right there you can Command V, post what resource, what website you want the students to visit, apply it, and then again, it's just going to be linked right there. Another one that we went to was Yellowstone, the one here with the dinosaur. That was the zoo, San Diego Zoo. Oops. So the San Diego Zoo was another good one. They have the elephants, tigers. Right here is all the animals that kids can view. So I know kindergarten, big trip going to the zoo. So I might be missing out on that one. But this would still give those students that opportunity to draft cam. So you can click on any one of these. The penguins are usually the most active. And with the San Diego Zoo, what I like about this one is that if the animals are not out, it will play like a half an hour video of what they were doing when they were active. So here, this one, it currently is live. So we have our 3 little penguin friends. And again, it just allows the students that opportunity to explore even from their screen. So, but yeah, so that was just, again, you want to insert a different Bitmoji or something, insert it, then just highlight the image, and then you can link it right there. They can move the objects, but another thing to keep in mind too is that once you upload this into your Google Classroom, you can just make it so it's a copy for every student, and that way they're not messing with your master. But they'll still have the links that will be available to them. Any other questions that I missed, Tara, about that one?
Yeah, about that linking stuff.
Art.
Yeah, so one person had asked, how do you link? And I'll go ahead and answer this one. So when you clicked on those, you didn't see the drop-down box. Well, when he's not in present mode, see how that shows the box? But then if he's in a present mode, it will just take him out externally. So you can share your slides with students in present mode. And if you have a question about that, please feel free to reach out. But that's how you don't get the drop-down box.
Thanks, Tara.
Yeah. And then we do have some questions about Google Meets. And I just want to jump in there. If you don't mind, Chase, I'll just jump in real quick. Yeah. So some people are asking about ways that you can guarantee that your Google Meet will not start or the kids can't get in there without you. So this was one of the features that rolled out last year, I think probably April-ish or May. In your Google Classroom, when you generate a Google Meet, what happens is it sets up parameters, and so the Google Meet will not start until you, the teacher, enter the room. Then the students can enter the room or the meet. Now, they also, once you leave, cannot get back in. This also happens if you create a meet and you nickname it. If you nickname it, then the students will not be able to get in there unless you, the creator, are present. If you are giving them a link and a calendar invite, then the link stays open, the meet stays open. They can jump in and jump out, and there's no restrictions on that. So you'll want to avoid creating invitations through calendar invites or meets through calendar invites with them. And you'll want to go through your Google Classroom. You don't need to refresh or redo your Google Classroom Meet code every single time. You can leave that up, and you can have the students just constantly use that same link, because in your Google Classroom, it'll just show as like a little button that they can press. then the kids will get used to that. You can remove it from view when you don't want them to use it and then set it back on there. Another thing for smaller groups, you could set a schedule with kids where you use that Google Meet and they jump in and you just have a group set for them as well. So those are just some things that you guys can do to guarantee that your students are not just jumping into meets that you have open.
Mm-hmm. All right. So just looking at our time, I know we only have a couple more minutes. So again, I just have another slide. Just your passport here. Sarah, yes, definitely keeping those office hours. That works. Again, professional judgment, use what's going to work for you and your students. And here are my resources. I do have that PDF that will take you straight to the infographic that we saw at the start from Dr. Tori Trust. And then all these slides were from Slides Mania. If you are big into using Google Slides, definitely check out Slides Mania. All sorts of fun templates. There's even templates that are made with game activities that you can do with your students. So definitely check out Slides Mania for a list of wonderful.
Yeah, especially at the elementary level, there are some really awesome pre-built templates that go, even just like the All About Me books or some of these other kind of fun activities that you could be using and adding your own content into. There's a ton out there for the elementary students.
All right. Well, I do appreciate it. And again, once I am off, we end our live YouTube here. In the Canvas course, you click on resources, you will have access to this presentation, and the resources will all be within the presentation for you to access. Just make sure you're logged in with your SBCSC email. That way I don't get 5 emails asking for requests if they're from their personal one. But as long as you're within CSC, you should be good to go with having access to those resources as well as the presentation. So I do appreciate you all starting with me, kicking off week number 2 of PL. So again, if you do have any more questions, anything does come up, feel free, reach out, email. So.
Yes, and I just want to remind everyone that at the end of the day today, you will have team time to work. So we have those blocks. If you're looking at the professional learning schedule, this week there are blocks of implementation and team time built into the schedule. Again, reach out to your building DIS if there's anything. Feel free to email, any of us on the professional learning team. We are here to help. We know this is a very unique time, but you guys are doing a really good job, and your students are appreciative of all of these efforts and the hours that you put in.
Yep. So again, thank you all very much, and hopefully you have a fabulous week. All right. Bye.